Hello everyone, welcome. In this tutorial we're going to see loops in octave programming. The loops that we're going to see in octave programming are going to be the for loop. The loops are going to see in octave programming are going to be the for loop, comma, we have the while loop. Now, these are the two main loops we are going to see in octave programming. So now let's start with the for loop. So if you want to enter a for loop, let's say we want to do an addition of a successive number of times to 100 times. So we are going to say for loop. In the for loop, you say that the first number we are going to enter, we are going to now say variable inside that for loop. So we say variable is equals to, with the initialize the value of the variable we want to add in the for loop as being let's say 12. The first value that we want to add to use as being 12. Then we place colon. Then after it we are going to say now inside, before we start with the for loop, we are going to first enter the variable we want to work with. Let's say variable is called variable equals to you have 12, place semicolon. Then you enter the for loop. Inside your for loop, you are going to initialize the counter. Anytime you want to load loops, what are loops? Actually, loops are statements inside the scene, inside the program, which are going to do a certain number of action for a long number of time. So if you want to count from 1 to 100 or want to add numbers in 100 times, then you can use loops. If I want to add variable, I want to add 12 100 times, I can use loop. Let's say I want to add this 12 100 times. I'm going to use the loop, the for loop or the while loop, as you're going to see now. So we first start by initializing the counter. The counter used for loops is usually I. So the next thing, you place a colon as such. They are going to say for 100 times. Here I've placed the counter at 1. So I'm going to count. If I want to add this number 100 times, I will place the counter at 1. I will place the counter, let's say, at 0. Then I will say that the maximal limit should be I less than 100. So it will start at 0, then at I less than 100, which is 99, is going to stop. So from 0 to 99 you have 100 terms, so it's going to do an addition of 100. Or similarly, I can still place it here at 1 and do less than 101, or I do less than or equals to 100. So this is a similar thing. So in order for me to add this variable to 100 times, so I'll use this format. The next thing again is that I'm going to, after this, I'm going to increment by value of 1. In order to increment, you can use either I plus plus like this, or a method I usually like to use, which is simple and direct, is I is equals to I plus 1 in most of my programs. So you write like this. After writing this, you can then enter. Hello, this error is shown just because the format here has been used as in C, so you need to change the format as those that use in octave programming. For octave programming, you need to place for in bracket, you write I, you initialize the value of I to 0. When you initialize the value of I to 0, then in between you are going to place the incrementation. I want that incrementation, so I will not place again I and all this. So I'm just saying I now is going to increment here by 1. And lastly, for octave, so octave is much more simpler than C. So and lastly, I want that it does that till 99. So it's going to start from 0 term and does that to 99 term. So to have 100 term inside, when I have this, and I can now place the value of variable, I know that variable above there was declared as being 100. So I have variable as being 12. So I have variable is equals to variable. So in order to add the value of variable 12 times, I know that variable is contained the value of 12. I want to add 12 plus 12 to 30 100 times. So what I'll do is that I'll initialize first variable to 0. When I initialize variable to 0, I'll add it to 12 and do it for this number of times here. So after this, I'll do it for 100 times, because start from 0 to 99 times. So you have 100 times it's going to perform. So you have variable 0, variable this plus 12 here, and then enter, and then I do end. When I end my for loop and now write the value of variable, you have variable 12. So this is because when it goes up, it's going to initialize. So what I'm going to do in order to arrange is that I'm going to write variable equals to 0 out of the loop. So I'll enter here, I'll write variable equals to 0 out of the loop. Then I'll go and I write the loop now. When I have the loop, I then write variable this, and then I end as such. When I have this, I can now write variable is equals to, see, it will add the variable 100 times. So when you are going to add that variable 100 times, it's the same as 12 times 100, which is 1200. You are going to have this. So this is the first format by using the for loop. Now by using the while loop, it's still similar. So already we have variable is now going to contain 1012 now. So you need again to declare again variable back to 0. Now after declaring variable, you need to know that the while loop does not insert its counter immediately into its bracket. The while loop has the counter outward, so you also initialize the value of the counter I0 outward. Then we enter and now use the while loop. We have y into I is less than, let's say I is less than 100. So this one uses the less than sign rather than the for loop. The for loop has the same format as in the matrices, you have as in the vector format we've seen above, where this was the first value, this is the last term, and this is the incrementation. Now you have while loop. After having the while loop, now you can write in this format variable equals to this plus 12, and then we end the while loop. When we end the while loop, so the error is shown is not stopping just because you have not placed the addition of the counter in order to stop this loop. So what we'll do again is that we still go into the while loop above here. So we have the while loop. After entering the while loop, we place a variable. Before placing n, we are going to say I is equals to I plus 1. This incrementation is what is going to be used in order to stop the loop. So after writing I is equals to I plus 1, you can now end. So this is capable of going out. When it's going out like this, at first it was not stopping. So what I need to do is that in order to stop this, when I see a program is going to infinity, in order to stop it, I need to press Control C. Control C is going to stop the earlier syntax which has been produced. So here I've pressed Control C. So here I come again, and now I want to know the value of variable. So I'll say variable here. So variable is not well spelled. I'll write variable. Variable here is well spelled, and you have this. So let's check for errors. This error is produced just because upon doing this first function here, it has already added some values of variables. So we need again to start again our program back. So we start our program by placing variable equals to 0. Yeah. After having this, we then insert this last program here. So we have this, y this, we have this. After the y, we have this, we have the I equals to I plus 1, and then we have n. Then when we have n, we can say variable. So So the error again has been shown because it was not, the value of I was not initialized. When you initialize the value of I, you realize that you still have the same format, and then the value of variable will come out as 1200. So this is how to apply loops inside Octave programming. You need to know that there are two main loops that apply in Octave programming. You have the for loop, and you have the while loop. We have the while loop here. Now the for loop uses this format. Start from I equals to 0. This is the incrementation here, and here is the last value that is going to have. So from 0 to 99 is going to contain 100 terms, and then it's going to do the addition 100 times, and the value of that additional is going to come out as 1200 here. So when you say 12 plus 1 plus 100 times 12 times 100, which is 1200. And here is similar to the while loop, where you initialize the first count as 0, you initialize the variable as 0, you add then the 12 to 0, and then increment the values. The end your variable, and the variable will still come as 1200. So from here you have ended the loops in Octave programming, and thanks for your kind attention.